If you're waking up 2, 3, even 4 times a night just to use the bathroom, this isn't just annoying, it's stealing your sleep, your recovery, and your energy. Most people believe that waking up again and again to urinate at night is just a normal part of getting older, something unavoidable, something you're supposed to accept quietly as the years pass. But science tells a very different story, and the truth is far more unsettling, because in many cases, this nightly disruption isn't caused by your bladder failing with age. It's caused by muscles that were never trained to survive aging, circulation that quietly slowed down over decades, and nerve signals that weakened long before the symptoms ever showed up. Research shows that up to 2/3 of adults over 60 experience nocturia, and yet only a fraction are told that muscle weakness and fluid redistribution play a major role, because the medical system often treats the symptom instead of the mechanism. When you lie down at night and feel that sudden urge to urinate, what's really happening is a shift in fluid that your body failed to manage during the day, fluid that pooled in your legs due to gravity, inactivity, and weakened calf and hip muscles. And when you finally rest, that fluid re-enters your bloodstream, forcing your kidneys to filter it all at once, creating an urgent need to empty the bladder while you're supposed to be sleeping. What's shocking is that studies using ultrasound imaging have shown that people with weaker pelvic floor muscles have significantly reduced bladder support, meaning the bladder becomes more sensitive to even small volumes of urine, triggering false urgency signals to the brain. This isn't a bladder problem, it's a support problem. The pelvic floor is a sling of muscles designed to hold the bladder in its optimal position. And when that sling weakens with age, inactivity, or prolonged sitting, the bladder drops slightly, compressing nerves and activating urgency even when it isn't full. This explains why many seniors wake up multiple times at night only to pass small amounts of urine, because the signal is coming from muscle dysfunction, not true bladder overload. Then there's the glutes, muscles so powerful that they were designed to stabilize the pelvis with every step you take. Yet studies show glute strength declines rapidly after the age of 40 if not intentionally trained. Weak glutes change pelvic alignment, increasing pressure on the bladder and prostate, and research published in musculoskeletal journals confirms that reduced hip stability directly correlates with pelvic floor dysfunction. This means every year of muscle loss quietly increases nighttime urination risk, long before any doctor ever mentions it. The body doesn't fail overnight, it compensates silently until it can't anymore. Circulation plays an equally critical role, and this is where the story becomes even more alarming. During the day, gravity pulls fluid downward, and if your calf muscles aren't actively pumping blood back toward the heart through movement, walking, and muscle contraction, that fluid stays trapped in the lower legs. Studies using venous pressure measurements show that older adults with reduced lower limb muscle activity experience significantly more fluid accumulation during the day. At night, when you lie flat, that fluid floods back into circulation, forcing the kidneys to work overtime, increasing urine production by as much as 30% compared to individuals with healthier circulation. This is why limiting water at night often doesn't work, because the fluid isn't coming from what you drank at dinner, it's coming from your legs. The nervous system adds another layer that few people ever consider. Bladder control depends on precise communication between the brain, spinal cord, and pelvic muscles, and aging slows nerve conduction velocity, especially when muscles are underused. Neurological studies show that reduced core and pelvic muscle activation leads to delayed inhibitory signals to the bladder, meaning the brain loses its ability to hold the bladder in check during sleep. Stress worsens this even further, elevating cortisol and increasing nighttime awakenings, which makes the bladder feel more urgent even when it isn't. This creates a vicious cycle where poor sleep weakens muscle recovery and weak muscles worsen nocturia. What makes this situation especially tragic is that many seniors are immediately placed on medications that target bladder contractions without addressing the mechanical and circulatory causes. While these drugs may reduce urgency temporarily, clinical reviews show they often come with side effects like dry mouth, constipation, dizziness, and even increased fall risk at night, which is one of the leading causes of injury in older adults. The underlying muscle weakness continues to progress, silently worsening the problem over time. The body adapts until it can't, and by then the damage feels permanent even though it often isn't. Scientific interventions that focus on strengthening pelvic floor muscles have demonstrated reductions in nighttime urination episodes by up to 50% in controlled trials, And when combined with lower body strength and circulation exercises, the improvements are even more significant. This isn't speculation, it's measurable physiology. Stronger muscles improve venous return, stabilize pelvic organs, reduce nerve irritation, and allow the bladder to function the way it was designed to function. The body doesn't distinguish between young and old. It responds to stimulus, load, and consistency. Perhaps the most shocking fact of all is that muscle loss accelerates during sleep deprivation, meaning every night you wake up repeatedly to urinate. You're feeding the very process that's making the problem worse. Research on sleep fragmentation shows increased inflammation, reduced growth hormone release, and impaired muscle repair, creating a feedback loop that accelerates weakness and fatigue. This is why nocturia isn't just a bathroom problem. It's a systemic health issue tied to mobility, balance, cognitive function, and long-term independence. The truth is uncomfortable, but empowering. Waking up to pee at night is often your body sending an early warning signal, not of bladder failure, but of muscular and circulatory decline that can still be addressed. Aging doesn't cause nocturia by default, inactivity does. Muscles that aren't challenged lose their ability to support vital organs. Circulation that isn't stimulated loses efficiency. Nerves that aren't engaged lose clarity. And yet the human body retains an extraordinary capacity to adapt even later in life when given the right signals. This means the solution isn't resignation and it isn't silence. It's understanding that nighttime urination is frequently the consequence of systems falling out of balance, systems that can be retrained, reactivated, and restored. When you strengthen the muscles that hold the bladder, improve the circulation that manages fluid, and calm the nervous system that controls urgency, you aren't just improving sleep, you're reclaiming control over a process most people are told they have no power over. And once you understand that this problem is not inevitable but mechanical and physiological, the narrative changes completely, because what can be trained can be improved, and what can be improved no longer has to control your nights. 10 to 15 minutes a day sounds insignificant, almost laughable, especially when you've been told for years that nighttime urination is just part of aging. But science shows that small, targeted daily movements can create physiological changes powerful enough to reshape how your body controls fluid, muscles, and sleep itself. Research on older adults consistently proves that the body does not stop adapting with age, it simply adapts more slowly. And that distinction is everything, because when the right muscles are activated daily, even briefly, they begin sending signals that restore balance to systems that have been deteriorating quietly for decades. One of the most overlooked facts in aging research is that muscle inactivity, not age alone, is the strongest predictor of functional decline, and nocturia is one of its earliest warning signs. Controlled studies on pelvic floor training show that consistent daily activation improves muscle thickness, endurance, and nerve responsiveness within weeks, not years, and these improvements directly translate into fewer nighttime bathroom trips. What makes this shocking is that many participants in these studies were well into their 70s and 80s, yet still demonstrated measurable improvements in bladder control simply by performing short, low-impact exercises. The body responded because the stimulus was precise, and precision matters more than intensity when it comes to aging physiology. This is why extreme workouts often fail seniors, while targeted movement succeeds. Circulation responds just as quickly. Research using Doppler imaging reveals that even brief bouts of ankle pumps, seated marches, or light lower body activation significantly improve venous return, reducing fluid accumulation in the legs by the end of the day. This matters because studies show that leg fluid volume is directly proportional to nighttime urine production, meaning every milliliter of fluid moved earlier in the day is one less milliliter your kidneys have to process at night. The idea that sleep disruption is caused solely by what you drink is a myth, and the data proves it. The fluid that wakes you up at night is often the fluid you failed to move during the day. Sleep science adds another layer that most people never hear. When you sleep uninterrupted, your body releases growth hormone, a critical regulator of muscle repair, tissue regeneration, and nervous system balance. But research on sleep fragmentation shows that waking up even twice per night significantly reduces growth hormone secretion, accelerating muscle loss and worsening bladder control over time. This creates a cruel loop where nocturia causes poor sleep, Poor sleep causes muscle weakness, and muscle weakness worsens nocturia. The only way to break this cycle is to intervene during the day before the night ever begins. Daily exercise, even at low intensity, interrupts this cycle by restoring the body's natural rhythms. Studies in gerontology show that consistent movement improves circadian signaling, helping the kidneys reduce urine production at night while increasing it during the day. This isn't behavioral, it's hormonal. Antidiuretic hormone, which tells your body to conserve fluid while you sleep, becomes more effective when the nervous system is properly regulated through movement and breathing. This means that a short daily routine doesn't just strengthen muscles, it retrains the hormonal signals that decide whether you sleep or wake. The nervous system itself may be the most powerful yet underestimated factor. Gentle daily exercises activate parasympathetic pathways, the same systems responsible for calming the body and maintaining internal control. Neurological research shows that slow, controlled movements combined with deep breathing increase vagal tone, which improves bladder inhibition during sleep. This is why people under chronic stress often experience worse nocturia, regardless of bladder health. Their nervous systems are stuck in a state of constant alert, waking them at the slightest internal signal. Daily movement acts as a reset button, reminding the body that it is safe to rest. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from fall prevention research. Seniors who wake multiple times at night are significantly more likely to fall, fracture a hip, or suffer head injuries, events that often lead to rapid loss of independence. Studies show that improving nighttime continence through exercise reduces nighttime awakenings, which in turn lowers fall risk and improves confidence. This means a simple daily routine can indirectly protect mobility, cognition, and quality of life, benefits far greater than just sleeping through the night. What's truly unsettling is that many people wait until nocturia becomes severe before acting, unaware that early intervention is far more effective. Muscle strength and nerve coordination respond best when decline is mild, not advanced, yet the symptoms often appear long before irreversible damage occurs. Research confirms that even modest improvements in strength and circulation can dramatically reduce symptoms, especially when practiced consistently. Consistency, not perfection, is what the body responds to. The idea that 10 minutes a day can change anything feels counterintuitive in a world obsessed with extremes, but aging physiology obeys different rules. Small daily stressors create cumulative adaptations, and the body prioritizes survival systems first. Bladder control, circulation, and sleep are survival systems. When you give the body daily signals that these systems matter, it reallocates resources accordingly. Muscles regain tone, nerves regain clarity, hormones regain rhythm. And here's the most powerful truth of all: exercise doesn't just treat nocturia, it restores agency. Studies on older adults show that regaining control over bodily functions dramatically improves mental health, reducing anxiety, depression, and feelings of helplessness. Sleep becomes deeper, energy returns, fear of the night fades. What once felt like an inevitable decline becomes a manageable condition, one influenced by daily choices rather than age alone. This is why daily exercise is not optional and not cosmetic and not about looking fit. It is a form of physiological maintenance as essential as breathing. When done consistently, even briefly, it changes how the body handles fluid, how muscles support organs, how nerves regulate urgency, and how deeply you sleep. It shifts the trajectory of aging from passive decline to active preservation. The quiet power of these daily movements lies in their simplicity. They don't exhaust you. They don't overwhelm you. They integrate into your life without resistance. And over time, they do something extraordinary. They give your nights back. They give your body the signals it has been missing. And they prove scientifically and undeniably that better sleep, better control, and better health are not reserved for the young, but earned through consistent, intentional action, one day at a time.